But yeah, man, Saturday is just kind of, and sleep in until 10 and the whole family gets up and then it's immediately trying to figure out breakfast. I would love to make this a consistent thing. So that way on Saturdays and Sundays, I still wake up at 6. I still go for my walk. I can still do my self-care stuff before the family gets up. Speaking
I
of
mean,
routines, I did not go to bed on time last night, I'm really glad that I picked 4 out of 5 days.
yeah.
I got a lead on a part for my vehicle that I've been looking for, and it was like unicorn kind of a deal. So I had to drive out to Dallas to go get that. And then one of our rats died last night, which is a huge bummer.
Right.
Like while I was gone, one of them
Okay.
had been sick, and we were kind of thinking he was about to go. And then as I was leaving, his brother, who had been healthy and totally fine, was just kind of like lounging in his cage, So I'm like, I'm just kind of talking to him, like, he's not really moving. I was like, okay, you just miss your brother, he'll be back, And then I leave, and I'm in North Dallas, and I get a text from Melissa saying that Ziggy had just died, and I was like, so
Does she know, like for sure?
he wasn't moving. She reached in there, and he wasn't
Yeah.
moving, and yeah, so
That's
that
a
was kind of
bummer.
a bummer. Yeah. So Alice was up super late because of that. Obviously, such a sensitive kid, man, and takes the loss very, very hard. So
Mhm.
kind of dealt with that, and got my journaling in. So still going strong on the 100 days of journaling. But yeah, I got to bed at around 11. No, I actually fell asleep on the couch because I was trying to spend a little time with Melissa before I went to bed last night. So fell asleep, and then she nudged me, and then I went to bed. So not the best for that, but sometimes you have to pay the balance.
Yeah, that's true. I wonder if that one ended up being a self-fulfilling as well, like where you said 4, and so although that's circumstances, so that's different.
Yeah, if I had just fallen asleep and it wasn't for having to go to North Dallas, like I met the guy at his storage facility at 9 p.m. So like that was going to put a bit of a damper on my day, on my evening routine. But the loss of a pet, is obviously pretty heavy, and like I'm bummed about it, and like I'm the least close one in the family to the rats, so Melissa and Alice are
Right.
upset about it.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
It is a bummer. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Gabriel. Good morning. He
Good
he
morning,
said
Gabe.
it's Thursday. You're right. It's Thursday.
Got to make every day a Thursday. I was just journaling that a second ago.
Oh yeah.
Of yeah, of it's kind of weird that we're so excited about it, but like I think it's this kind of like this is like a leadership and a planner thing, right? When you plan well, Thursday is your day. When you don't plan well, Friday's your day, right? And I've been thinking a lot about that because I'm trying very consciously to make sure that I don't just wing stuff, right? Be very, very intentional with my time, plan it out, set goals, all of these things.
Mhm.
And so Thursday is my day, right? Because like I want an easy Friday to go into the weekend if I can.
Yeah.
So getting as much done on Thursday as possible is worth doing.
Yeah, that makes sense. And let's see. Michelle said sorry about Ziggy.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Michelle.
Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning.
So outside of the tragedy, how was your day yesterday? Before that,
Pretty big day before that. Nelson and this guy Ben. Nelson is a client, and Ben is a guy who is just a very unique and awesome person. They're going to start working together. So Nelson was looking for a partner. He hired me to help him find one who can also handle sales. Got him connected with Ben. They've had a couple of conversations, and they're going to start doing some part-time work together to really kind of get it figured out, which is huge. Like they got along super well, and yeah, Ben's ability in those conversations to treat those conversations just like good sales conversations is really, really, really solid, even from the jump.
awesome.
Um, so that was huge. I had a session with my coach, and it had been a couple of weeks, and it was it was funny because he's kind of been in Colorado, or he's been in Colorado and like around mountains and everything, and he came back with this new perspective of, the mountains are like this thing to him. They make him feel insignificant, and they take away some of this pressure of, running his business and being a coach and everything else. And I was like, man, they do the same thing
Mhm.
for me.
Mhm.
And it was cool because, in the class, somebody asked a question about journaling, and my coach said, well, I'm going to give my 15-second spiel, and then I'm going to let John go a little bit deeper because he does more journaling than anybody else does that I've seen. So that was cool. That was cool.
Yeah.
Um, had a call with the business group of, bringing in some people. We're about to start lead genning, and I'm about to start having conversations with people about this marketing software, which is, exactly where to put your effort: top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom of funnel for e-commerce products. So yeah, it's pretty sweet. So working on that. um I mean, I just had meetings, and this guy who invited me on for his podcast a couple of months ago had a question for Sales Throwdown. We talked about that on the show, and then we had a call yesterday, me and him did, and it was an excellent call, and he was pretty blown away by the end of it. He was like, man, like there's a whole lot more to this than I was thinking there was, and I was like, well, there can be, and so he's going to be jumping into Sales Lab. I had a couple of other people reach out and talk about Sales Lab, and we'll be doing role plays at 9 a.m. this morning, right? And not exactly sure what we're going to role play. We'll maybe get a pulse of what people are struggling with, and then do some groups and figure it out from there. I've got a team meeting. I have another team meeting. I've got this other meeting. I've got a book discussion with the book coach and Melissa, which will be really good because I'm looking forward to taking myself somewhat out of that a little bit because it just feels heavy. Um, and then, I'm working with processology today, which I am
Oh yes,
super,
Micah,
super
awesome.
stoked about. We're going to talk about his messaging, his positioning, stuff like this from a sales perspective. And then I have um, a random meeting that I'm not exactly sure how it's going to, how it got on my calendar, but those are typically the best ones. And then tonight's my long day because of the Michael session, which was already scheduled before I did this. And
Mhm.
then we have Throwdown podcast episodes tonight,
Ooh,
which
yeah, long day.
it is a long day, but we got to get the ups done. And it's not like work, right, in the strictest sense. So,
Yeah,
and there's three other people whose schedules are, if you can believe this, busier than mine are. And so, we fit it in whenever we can fit it in. But that's kind of my day, man. Got a lot.
yeah. Wow, makes me feel pretty good about my day because I just a lot of heads down work to do, and I'm gonna call it quits at 5. And hmm, so it's not super exciting to talk about because it's just doing work, but it's a heavy one of those days. So actually, my challenge today is going to be keeping focused, not letting distraction hit me when I get tired head when I work on one project for too long. Just sitting in it, like that deep work stuff where you're just over repetitive in nature over and over.
Mhm.
And even though there's some different elements to the things I'm doing, that's a constant challenge for me. I think it's just a personality situation where I don't love sitting and working on the same thing all day long, um, even if I
Yeah.
love the thing I'm working on. So it doesn't even have anything to do with that. So that will definitely be my challenge today. And typically, the way I do that is I make sure and take a lot of small breaks, and I make sure that there's music playing, and I make sure that if I really hit a wall, I switch rooms, kind of change the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Those are kind of my standard go-tos, but um, doesn't always work all the time.
Do you think that that's just like a muscle that you can gradually increase, or do you think it's just kind of fixed based upon personality and all that stuff?
Well, I know part of it, and I think we talked about this a while back. Like on one of the personality tests, the predictive index
Mm-hmm.
is a bigger one. They actually have a part of it that talks about your mental battery, like how long you can run working doing mental stuff. And mine's very short, but it burns really hot, so I can be really intense and focused and move mountains in an hour. But then I'm spent for 15, 20 minutes on my brain, like I'm like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
So I think part of it's that because I got to take those breaks. The other part, yeah, I think there is um, a muscle developed there, or maybe it's maybe a mental toughness that of sorts. That's like I don't like this, but it needs to get done, so I'm just going to continue to do it.
Yeah.
Um, Probably, I think it's a combo of those.
Yeah. Right. As you were talking through that, I was thinking if I because my gut was like, well, I don't have that problem. And then I was like, wait a minute, maybe I do have that problem and I just don't realize it. And,
Mm,
there are things within my zone of genius, right? Calling it that,
mhm,
of that I can do for hours, right? Like without, concern of looking up and stuff like this. And so much of it for me is like set and setting, like just now when I was journaling and doing my stream of consciousness journaling, I set a timer on my Focus at Will app so that way I can have the music and I can go deep and not really worry about it. But like today, I woke up a little bit later, so I didn't do my full walk, and then I've kind of felt a little bit off. So, I checked, I checked my timer on it because I normally put it screen down because I don't want any moving pixels, and checked it, and it was 15 minutes left, and then I wrote in my journal. I said, "Was that really helpful?" No. Okay. Trust the systems and the tools, or don't use them. So, um, yeah, I think we all have stuff we can do endlessly and do it well, and then we all have stuff that we're not great at.
mhm. Yeah, for sure. It happens.
Um, oh, I finished breath.
Oh yeah, and you're still breathing, so that's good. Yeah. Well,
Huge,
just by you mentioning it to me, I started really observing my breath and uh,
man.
throughout the day, and noticed when into this morning on my walk was really concentrated on my breath and wasn't even thinking about it. Like just by
Yeah,
bringing it forward, I was like, "Wow, this is cool."
it's
I tried the left right thing a few times,
yeah.
just like yeah.
Well, so at the very end of the book, there's all these breathing exercises by this. They call them pulmanauts, right? People who are really invested in trying to up their thing, right? When you're really into anything, you're a knot, Uh,
Yeah.
so at the end of it, they go through some of like recording because it's an audiobook of him doing some of these breathing exercises and stuff like this. And that was incredibly helpful um, because it's hard to maintain your own tempo. However, on that front, I got this ridiculously cool app because I was looking for an app. And so this is called Stoic, right? And what this is pretty legit. It is like a wind up, wind down process in there, right? So when you say, start your day and it's really, really minimal, like how do you
Yeah.
feel?
Yeah.
Right. And you just pick it and then you go through it. And there's breathing exercises in here. So focus breathing, deep breathing, awake breathing. And there's a cool timer and you can journal inside of there as well. Pretty cool app. The notifications on it are all like stoic quotes and stuff like this, so at least the nudge to go in there and check the app is well meaning, and
Mhm.
as opposed to just like Duolingo, oh, you make Duo cry when you don't come practice Portuguese, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty funny. I remember those because
Yeah.
I used Duolingo before I went to Brazil to do Portuguese. So it's funny you picked that.
Bom dia.
Yeah, bom dia. That's funny. It's fun you say that because you were actually saying that religious prayers and chants and different things like that are also there's these breath timings, and so sure enough, I just ran randomly across an app as well that I was looking at. Right, it's called Pause, but it's
Okay.
actually this little pause button, but it's actually
Yeah.
after a Christian author that I really like, and
Okay.
it gives you promptings twice a day, and it does 1, 3, and 5 minute pauses, and in it, it starts with breathing exercises, and then scripture that you're supposed to meditate on, and it's the whole point is just to stop, breathe, read the words, and then just okay, go back to your day, and so it's cool that breathing is just right first thing in there, and
Yeah.
it's I really have loved. I've seen quite a few apps and different YouTube videos and things like that where they have the circle that increases, right,
Hmm.
to help you visually also kind of connect the breath. That's
Yep.
something that when I was heavy into the sauna world, when I was going to a gym and did a sauna, I would have I would use Calm or like one of
Yep.
those apps. That's the first time I kind of saw that, and it's really helpful for me um, to
I
watch something.
Yeah. I never really got into the Calm app, but like I got on the Headspace app train a
Mhm.
long time ago, and
Yeah.
I've gone through phases of being good about it and phases of being bad about it, but recently they have really upped their game in that app, right? And it's meditations and soundscapes for sleeping, for focus, for meditation and stuff like this, and there's a whole lot more in there, and it's
Yeah,
they've done a really good job of building it out, which is fantastic.
that's cool.
Um,
I'm maxed out Headspace on the free side. I did all their things free, and I was like, I don't think I want to pay for this. But the free was awesome when I did
you
it.
know, $100 a year is kind of one of those things to where like in January, whenever, because that's when I bought it, is when it renews, and so then it's just kind of like, yeah, I need to do better about this. But the way that I've been treating it, this week and usually here recently is, try to meditate, but like between work and not work, right? And that's a little bit easier when I stop at 4:30, and then try to meditate every like weekend, right? Like one time on Saturday, one time on Sunday, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I've been better about that. But yeah,
Have you
man,
ever tried the micros, like because I've only been doing it for like 3 days, but I really like the 1 minute, 3 minute, just little stops in the day to kind of collect your breath and just so it's like a mini reset,
hmm,
rather than just like a full meditation session. It's kind of like a commitment,
that's funny. I have not really spent a lot of time doing like micros. My thing is I like to make shit really hard on myself. So it's like, well, if it's not at least 20 minutes, it doesn't count.
Right.
So, what's weird is I've been finding myself doing these kind of micro pauses like throughout my calls. Like yesterday on a call with, Fritz, and on my call with Mike, I found myself, okay, I need to,
Yeah.
and then like start again kind of deal. So it's becoming this thing that I have more access to in regular conversations, which is really interesting.
Yeah. I think that's one of those things that ideally that would be the goal, right? Because anytime you feel blood pressure raising or things like that, it's breathe,
Yeah.
collect, gather, that sort of
Especially
thing.
especially after reading this book, and going really deep about like how we breathe and how it interacts with the rest of our body. Like when you're breathing into the upper chest cavity and not into your stomach, you're actually kind of massaging different sets of nerves that do different things for your autonomic system, for like your nerves and everything else like this. And pretty cool, pretty interesting stuff.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
So anything today can get in your way?
Just me, man. Just the huge.
Right. I'm with you, right?
Just the
Yeah.
huge. Sales lab will be good. And then after that, it's just off to the races. Meeting, book discussion, meeting, project, break, podcast. So,
Cool. Man, well, that's all I got today.
well, awesome, man. Let's go get it. It's Thursday.
All right. All right, man.
All
Happy
right.
Thursday,
Thanks.
y'all.
Thanks, everybody.
Yep. All right.